How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Benji's Logs on Whatnots 2.0. I am Benji. Today is a bit of a wet day, so there's not much we can do out there, but there is something that we can do down here. We are going to, as you would say, start molding some candles. We do have all the equipment that is necessary. It's all pretty much basic sort of stuff. I will start getting it out of the bags in just a moment, but we pretty much got all the stuff that we need for now, except for one thing. We do need to get something with long, thin little pincers, like long nose pliers of some form. I thought I had a shitty pair in my toolbox, but I obviously don't. So we're just gonna have to make do with what we got. And that also reminds me, I do have to find one more thing from my little workbench that I've got next to me. But anyway, we're going to get this started and everything else in between. I'll quickly run it through the things that we have for this little project. Alright, first things first, guys. What are we using for wax? We are using, as you would say, a lot of these old used up candles. Didn't want to throw these away because there's still plenty of good wax, or whatever that is. I'll have to figure out what that is later, but I've got a whole heap of these, including some big old ones, so we are going to go and put a lot of these through. The only problem that I've got is the old wicks. We do have to pull them out of said container when they get melted down, so that is what we're using for our little project. So we did end up buying a whole heap of stuff the other day. We got this nice little aluminium melting pot. It's a little 1 litre or something of that size, and we got a couple of these molds as well. We do have one big hunky dory there, but I don't think I'll be using that one, to be honest with you. I think we'll just be using the simple little one this time around. We've also got a whole assortment of different length widths that we're going to use. Also along the lines of having these little brackets to hold it up on the end, so that it, as you would say, doesn't have the wick on one little part over here instead of being dead center. And the last little piece that we're going to be using for this is a little camping stove, for a very simple fact that it's a convenient little thing to have for this little project that we're going to be doing. So I do have to make sure, yeah, only just fits on that, but I do have another one that I could potentially use if that one is too much of an inconvenient thing to use. The only thing is, yeah, that's more than enough gas. We're only potentially going to make one little thing up for today, see how it goes. I might end up making 2 of these. We'll see how things go. The next most important thing to do is, as you would say, weigh up the amount of stuff that we've got. So what we have is 1.259 kilograms right there. So we're going to have a bit of fun with this. We may end up making 1 or 2 of these little things. We might make 2, see how it goes. But I don't think the big ones are going to be something that we're going to worry about just yet. So I reckon I'm going to have to retire this one in particular. I've literally got it switched off at the moment, and it is currently running, so that is not good. Now it is officially running properly. I don't know if it's going to be too much of heat, but we should be pretty much right. Okay, I literally just turned that off now, and as you can see, it is still running. So that is not good. So I think I'll use this for now, and then we can, as you would say, grab the other one out at some point, or even go past Super Cheap and grab another one of these, because I've got plenty of gas cylinders for this. But for now, we're going to get everything set up and everything else in between. The first thing that we're going to do is get ourselves a wick, slug it into this little frame, and try and have it straight as possible. And I don't think those ones are going to be long enough, so I think we're going to have to go grab another one. That is alright. Sometimes these things do happen. That is alright either way. It's always fun trying to get things out, and everything else wants to come out at the same bloody time. And as always, got to try and straighten these things up best we can. Being, as you would say, a typical male as well, our aim is not exactly the greatest. There we go. Push that one through. Right. Next little step is to clog that up. And we've got ourselves some little moulding clay right here. Here, Play-Doh is pretty good at clogging up the end, but this is all we have for now. So this yeah, it should work. Probably not. That is very... Well, it looks like we might have to figure out what we're going to do for that now. Can't exactly just have that go in there like that unless we put something in there. What are we going to use for that? I might have to run down to the shop and bloody grab something from work. I reckon that's going to be the only bloody way. Okie dokie. So we've got what we want. Modelling clay. Doesn't matter what colour it is, as long as it can plug up the hole down the bottom, and we will be happy. We don't want it all to basically drain out. But then now that I'm thinking of it, I could probably put a little bit down the bottom to basically plug it, but then once it gets the hot stuff on top of it, it's probably going to remelt. So that right there will do just fine for what we're after. Now that we've got that, we can get on back and get these things sorted out. They're actually a lot cheaper than I thought. The pack of that modelling clay is $2.65 or 69 off the shelf. So I grabbed 2 packs because may as well. Knowing our luck, it'll probably go off by the time that we decide to reuse it again. Now that we're back, we had a bit of a think about this little stove that we've got right here. Due to it being a little iffy and coming down to some safety issues, I've decided that I'm not going to use that one to do this little melt. I've decided that we're going to get this little one out. It's like a little rocket stove on top of a gas cylinder. That will do just fine for what we need. Grabbed ourselves a little cork mat from upstairs, some scissors, and we decided to find some tweezers to pull out some of the stuff. So I think that will work out just fine to do what we need to do. So what we're going to do is get the next step underway. First little thing that we're going to do is try and get this base lined up. Pull it through a little bit. Grab our little trusty scissors and basically try and cut a little bit off the end so that it doesn't basically get pushed back into the thing. I think that will be fine. The next little step is to get some of this moulding clay and basically try and clog up the bottom so that it doesn't, as you would say, pour the stuff out the bottom. And I think that right there is perfect. So now that we've got that sorted out, we can basically put that on there like that. We'll have to fiddle around with this a little bit and then we can get into it. Unfortunately, when I was flat assing around with that, the little bloody metal clip that came off. That's alright, we should be able to grab the end with the tweezers, hold it up as we pour, but we'll see how things go. We might have to pour it and then grab the end and then to try and basically get it up to where we want it. Might take a little while for it to, as you would say, cool down, but that is alright. First things first, as always, gotta get this cooker up and running. I think we'll use up some of these bigger ones. I figured out what that is. It's paraffin, paraffin wax. Couldn't think of it before, but now I know exactly what it is. That goes on top of there like so. And now all we can do is just sit and wait until it's sorted itself out. And it looks like it's not really taken all that long to melt down either. That should only take a couple of seconds. And hopefully we can basically start pouring. I don't know if these two are going to be enough or too much, but we'll, as you would say, soon find out. And I probably should open that door up. In all honesty, guys, I thought that was going to take a lot quicker, but that took no more than about 5 minutes. Unfortunately, I do have a bit of stuff in there, but that's alright. First lot of candles sorted out. So now we're going to have to just let that little piece melt down, which won't take too long. And then we can start pouring into our first little mould. Alright, let's see how well this goes. I'm just going to hold that up like that and basically start pouring. And just like that. And, well, there goes that bloody idea now, doesn't it? Bugger me. Knew that something would always bloody go wrong. As the saying goes, second time's a charm. I'll put a little bit in the top. Let that solidify so that hopefully it doesn't come through the top. We'll have to keep a damn good eye on it because we did end up with the other one getting quite a bit of stuff come through the top because I didn't quite do it properly. So far that is looking hopefully good, so we should be able to hopefully pour the rest of this into this very thing. So we're not going to go all the way up to the top. So far it is looking pretty good, so we are going to have to sit and wait for this for a while, 24 hours to be precise, for it to, as you would say, basically settle down a bit. So see how things go with this one. I'll try and get the other one going as well. But I think right now that's okay. All we've got to do is just sit and wait. Right, now that we've got this one reset, I'm going to give this one a bit of a whirl, see if we can pour it in and not, as you would say, spill it out of the very top. As per the usual, let's see if that decides to pour out the bottom. I don't think it will. I think it's going to be pretty much set in its way. It's probably a good thing because I think this is, as you would say, starting to burn, so hopefully we can get put this here because it is unfortunately starting to burn. As you can tell by the colour, it is a little bit yellow, but that is alright. That looks like it's going to pretty much set. It isn't leaking out the bottom, which is good. So we're going to have to let this sit. I don't know how much of that you guys caught, but yeah, as I was saying, that wax is starting to burn a little bit, so I did leave it on the burner for a little too long. So that is going to be a little bit yellow for that candle, but that's alright. And it looks like it's just let go down the bottom. That is typical. Can't bloody win with these candles, guys. I just hope it, as you would say, solidifies enough to stop it from leaking, but I highly doubt that. You can just barely see it in there. It has unfortunately let go through the top part, so I'm going to have to pour that back into there. I'm not having much luck with this one here, but that one there is going to come out just fine, but that right there is not going to work. Now that is a bloody bummer, guys. I was kind of hoping to have 2 candles, but it looks like we're only going to be down to 1 at this point. We might end up having to try it again, but we'll have to have a look at what we're doing wrong. But I'm pretty sure I know exactly what we're doing wrong. We're basically not putting that clay stuff on properly. Good news is this one here is starting to cool down enough to basically getting that very foggy look, which is good. That one hasn't leaked as of yet, but we'll find out tomorrow once we come back and have a bit of a look at it. And I did end up pouring that one again, and I really put the molding clay stuff on the bottom there, and it hasn't leaked so far, so that's always a good thing. But the next trick is going to get that stuff off the wick so we can get those out of the molds. There's a little trick to that. You do have to heat them up a little bit, but we'll have to figure that one out in the next 24 hours. But I think I'm going to leave it at that. It's a learning curve for us to, as you would say, do these said things. Oh, and I did end up finding a little something to put the stuff in. I didn't want to leave it in the container. I probably could have, but I ended up putting it in that. That is burnt stuff, so try and get rid of that at some point. So I think I'll keep that for the time being until it gets too full. And basically, I do have a few more over there that we can use to put the stuff in once we're finished with our little container. Who am I kidding, guys? Let's try do one more before we call it a day. May as well try and do it as quickly as possible. And as per the usual, let's see if that is going to leak. One is only hoping that it doesn't. If it does, I'm going to give up before I go too bloody far. So far, that is looking pretty good, but it can change in the next 5 or so minutes from us pouring it in. I'll let that sit for a couple of seconds, and then we can try and pour the rest of it in and hope for the best. So I think it's not a complete failure. We'll pour the rest of this in, and then we will call it a day. So far so good. Like I said, it can change in a matter of about 5 minutes. This one here hasn't lost any more fluid, which is good. So I think I may have figured out what I was doing wrong. And I'll explain that in just a moment once we are sure that this one here isn't going to leak. Now they're all starting to set pretty well. This one's starting to set. This one's probably about a quarter of the way there. Still needs plenty of time. And that one is on its way as well. So what I've done was cheekily put a couple of matches up above the base of the mould, above the brackets, to try and pull the wicks a little bit straighter, so that yeah, so they can burn a little bit straighter than being crooked, as it were. So I'm pretty damn stoked about this, to be absolutely honest with you. And now, where I think I was going wrong was with that stuff in there. I do believe that I wasn't pressing it hard enough up against the top of the mould, and wasn't doing it hard enough around the wick. So basically everything was getting past the little hole that's at the very base of this. Basically that wick acts as a bit of a channel for all of it to go straight through. But I think I have figured it out, and all we can really do for the next few is to basically do that again. But I'm going to call it a day. I only do have the 3 moulds that we want to basically use. We do have another one, a big one, but I don't think I've got the wicks basically long enough to get into that one. So these 3 will be suffice for now. I'm not going to bore you guys too much with waiting for tomorrow afternoon. I will make a part 2 to this video of trying to take these out without, as you would say, damaging them too much. So that's exactly what we're going to do, is make a part 2 of this video and basically upload it for the Wednesday. And we've still pretty much got all of this in here, so we've still got quite a bit, plus we got that as well. So that is a bit of a mix between slightly burnt wax, because I had that on too high. So there's still quite a few things that we need to, as you would say, adjust. Have that on low so that doesn't burn, and it comes out looking like those two, looking like they've been in the house of a smoker. Now that we've done that, we have to wait 24 hours before we can come down and try and get them out of the mould. There is probably a few things that I have not done. Again, I am learning, so there is a few things that I probably need to, as you would say, learn to make a better candle than what we have thus far. If there's any professional candle makers that watch this video, any tips would be perfectly fine. I'll be more than happy for you to comment on this video saying that whatever it is that you're going to say. It's been a couple of hours since we've done the pour for these candles. I'm just coming to have a bit of a gander at these to see how they are. Oh yeah, still got plenty of heat. I better turn this light on because nothing worse than having light on the back. They still have plenty of heat within. Definitely need to leave them for 24 hours, but they 2 out of 3 are looking pretty darn good. One of them is looking a little yellow due to the fact that we, as you would say, let it burn a little bit. So all in all, it is looking bloody good either way. So I'm hoping as well, once they fully cooled down, we can actually get them out. You can see there's a little bit of an air bubble in that one there. Small amount of an air bubble in that. Same with that. But that one there is the yellowest out of the lot. Let's say it's a little bit more than what you guys are seeing at the moment. But all in all, I'm pretty damn stoked at this. It does seem to be pretty easy to get this stuff off. Once you get it out, it does come off pretty easily. It feels like I can potentially reuse that at some point down the track, which I think I will one more time at least with that, unless that is not a wise thing to do. But everything is a trial and error at this point. So I'm going to get the other two off. At it, I'll show you guys the base of this. So that is looking ruddy good either way. Oh, sorry guys. So the next trick is to try and get the wick out of that and everything else in between, but that is looking bloody good. We'll probably have to deal with the top of this as well at some point. But for now, let's just leave these down here for the next 24 hours. And by looking at second round of melting some old candles down, I think I figured it out where I went wrong, why some of these do look yellow. I forgot to cut off the ends of the candles where they were burnt, so a lot of that did go through the wax. I also did a little something while we were down here, and that is basically fill this little container up with the rest of the wax. So I do have the last lot of candles in there that are going to melt down. I've got another little container just on the other side of my little furnace there to put it into. So we're going to have 2 blocks of candle wax that we can basically just cut whatever we want of it instead of trying to pull all the bloody stuff out of that. We now have 2 full aluminium trays full of wax. After this little session, I've realised that the best thing to do is, instead of recycling, is go get some fresh paraffin. There's a few other things that we need to grab as well. Some more tools, longer tweezers or tongs, so that we don't get too close to the ruddy hot wax, because we literally just nailed our fingers in wax. We're going to have to go and sit by the sink and just run it under cold water for 5-10 minutes so that we don't blister up too badly. We're also going to go and, as you would say, get a strainer of some sort, a metal one. So whenever we pour it into the containers, we don't, as you would say, collect all the crap that we melted it down with. Oh yeah, there it is. That's what we're talking about, guys. Instant relief. And we definitely need to invest in better tools than what we got, and better ingredients, because yeah, doing recycled candles, it's a good idea. At the end of the day, we do want to have some cleaner ones that we can, as you would say, burn. We'll have a look at it tomorrow. But I did notice in some of the centers of those candles as well, is that the center wasn't full, it was hollow. So we ended up putting some more wax into it, and again we'll have a look at it tomorrow, see if we need to put any more into it. I did see it on a YouTube video a while ago on that sort of thing does happen. So yeah, we're gonna have to keep an eye on it. We'll have to probably do some more tomorrow, or once we put Becky to bed, we'll go down and have another look at it again tonight, see if we need to put any more in. Much to take in. Much knowledge to take in for this candle making. I think from what I have seen on trusty old YouTube is that I had the wax a wee bit too hot. So I think that I'm going to have to try and keep it as cool as possible, or at least let it cool down just a wee bit before we start pouring. I think that is going to be the best bet. A little trial and error to, as you would say, get it right I'm not chasing perfection because most of these candles, if not all of them, are going to be for me, so yeah. But I'm not going to bore you too much more now in this video. I will put the camera down until we go down to the shed again tomorrow and basically see what we can do with those candles, whether or not we have to fill the centers up again. If we do, then so be it. If not, sweet, but it's all a learning curve at this point. I will try and get down there at least once a month, or once every now and then, once a week, once a fortnight, to do a little bit of a pour. But again, this is video 1 of 2, so we will go back down there and see whether or not it was a win or a fail. So in saying that, guys, I'll see you in the next candle making video. But for now, I'm going to put the camera down. As always, it is an Evidentiary for now. I will see you in the next video. As always, keep it cheesy.